Okay, so you want to talk about high-pressure situations. You want to talk about emotions running high.
Yeah, let's do it.
Today, we are diving into the world of professional football.
I love it.
Because, sometimes things get a little heated on the field.
Yeah.
But those heated moments,
Right.
they can actually teach us a lot about leadership communication and what it takes to be a team under pressure.
Absolutely.
So we'll be looking at a kind of a fascinating exchange that happened on the sidelines between Trevor Lawrence and Gabe Davis a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And we'll break down what it reveals about the inner workings of a team.
I think it's a perfect case study, really, because you've got a quarterback and a receiver.
Right.
Both with a lot to prove, and their frustration, it kind of boils over on national television.
Yeah, and we all saw it. So let's set the stage here.
Yeah.
It's week 5.
Okay.
Jaguars are playing the Colts.
All right.
And it's a close game.
Tense.
Things are tense, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly, Lawrence and Davis are spotted having what seems to be like a pretty...
a disagreement.
A disagreement, yeah, a little more than a disagreement.
A little heated.
Heated, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the cameras catch the whole thing.
Of course, because they always do.
Yeah, always do.
Which I think adds another layer to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's one thing to have this kind of like back and forth.
In the locker room.
In the locker room or in private.
But when you know millions of people are watching.
Right.
You got to think like what's going through their heads.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because they know they're being watched. But that raw emotion still comes through.
It does.
Right.
And then there's this moment where Lawrence, he like throws down the tablet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he later joked about like firmly setting it down.
Right.
But still, like that's a very visual representation of what's happening in that moment.
You can't fake that.
You can't fake it.
No.
So how did they handle the whole thing afterward?
Yeah.
Like, was it total damage control mode?
Well, it was interesting because they both downplayed it.
Okay.
Which, you'd kind of expect that publicly that's what you're going to do.
Right.
Lawrence talked about how, these moments happen.
They're part of the game, he said.
They're part of the game.
Yeah.
You got to confront issues head on.
Yeah.
And that he and Davis had cleared the air.
Okay, so they talked it out.
Yeah.
And what about Davis?
Davis has been pretty quiet.
Keeping it zipped.
Yeah, he hasn't publicly addressed it. Which I think, again, is probably a smart move strategically.
Right. Why add fuel to the fire?
Yes, exactly. Their focus needs to be on the next game, not on rehashing this incident.
Right. So, but even though they downplayed it, I feel like this whole situation, it kind of reveals a lot about what goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
The big team.
Because you've got a lot of things at play here.
Yeah.
You've got a young quarterback.
Right.
Who is still establishing himself as a leader.
Trying to prove himself.
Exactly. And then you've got a receiver who's relatively new to the team.
Right.
Also wants to make an impact.
Wants to prove his worth.
And then you add in the pressure to perform.
Right.
The split-second decisions they have to make.
Oh, yeah.
The inevitable missed opportunities.
Right.
It's a recipe for tension.
Yeah. It's like you said before, it's a pressure cooker.
It is.
And sometimes things explode.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, they have to find a way to work together.
They do.
Because if they don't...
the whole team falls apart.
Right. The whole team falls apart.
Yeah.
So how do they do that? How do they move past something like this?
Well, that's where leadership comes in.
Okay.
And I think Lawrence, even though he was visibly frustrated in that moment, he recognized that he needed to address the situation with Davis directly.
Right.
And he did.
Yeah. And actually, he even said afterward.
I know. And this is what I found really interesting. He said he almost appreciates when these types of blowups happen. Because it forces open communication.
Okay. I've never thought about it that way. Like confrontation as being a healthy thing.
Yeah, well, it's about not letting things fester.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, you have a disagreement, you talk it out.
Get it out in the open.
You get it out in the open.
Address it.
Yeah, and then you move on.
So it's really about the team culture then.
It is.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're not letting resentment simmer beneath the surface.
Right.
They're tackling the issue head on.
Right.
Which is crucial in any environment where trust and timing are critical.
And I imagine that's especially true in a high-stakes environment like professional sports.
Oh, absolutely. But think about it.
Yeah.
Like, think about your own workplace.
Yeah.
Addressing conflict directly, even though it can be uncomfortable.
Right.
It's so important for building trust and preventing bigger issues down the line.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because if you let things fester, then it just creates this like undercurrent of tension.
Right, resentment builds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so if we kind of zoom out from the football field here,
Yeah.
what's the bigger takeaway for like our listeners?
Well, I think on the surface, it's easy to get caught up in the drama of this very public disagreement.
Sure.
Between two athletes. Right?
It's entertainment for us.
Yeah, exactly.
On a Friday morning.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But I think if we look beneath the surface, this incident, it gives us this really fascinating glimpse into the high-stakes world of professional sports.
Okay.
And I think more importantly, it underscores the importance of clear, direct communication.
Especially under pressure.
Especially under pressure, absolutely. And I think it also serves as this great reminder that even these star athletes, they're human.
They're human.
They're capable of frustration and raw emotion, just like the rest of us.
No robots on the field.
No robots, although sometimes those throws are pretty incredible.
Laser precise.
I know, it's amazing.
So crazy.
But it does make you wonder.
What's that?
Like how much of this tension, this on-field tension, is actually healthy for a team?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because on one hand, you could argue that a little bit of fire, a little bit of conflict can fuel their drive to win.
Push them harder.
Right, exactly. But on the other hand, too much conflict can become a distraction.
It can,
It can really derail a team.
Interesting.
So it's this delicate balance.
It is.
And it makes you think, like, where's that line?
Where's that line?
How much is too much? That's the question, isn't it?
That is the question.
Something to ponder.
Something to think about.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to go watch this exchange again now.
I think we all do.
All right. That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.